What's going on, guys? JHoyt back with you today. As you can see on your screen now, we got a little bit of a different video. So you can see my PC screen right now, which is something that never really happens. And I saw this with the Chicago Huntsmen. They did this. Some of their picks were kind of questionable, so I wanted to make my own list. So we're using Tier Maker. Had to set this one up a little bit. Got all of the research in, and here we are now. So we have, I believe it's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? 16, 17, something like that. We have a lot of games to go through. Now, as you can see on your screen, we have the different ranks. We have great, we have good, we have average, bad, terrible, and then the last category is not really a ranking, but it just did not play. So the ones we didn't play are going to be on that list. So I'm just going to start off with, I started playing at Call of Duty Black Ops. Now, Black Ops 1, whatever you want to call it, Black Ops 1, it's the same game, but that's where I started playing. So I didn't really play any games before that. So I'm just going to make that clear right now. So unfortunately, we got to put Call of Duty, or I guess the original Call of Duty in there, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, I don't think I've ever played that. World at War did not play that. Modern Warfare 2 did not play that. So I know a lot of people started at Modern Warfare 2 or even before that. Myself personally, I did not. So I think I may have tried out Modern Warfare 2, but I don't really remember playing it enough to really have, a solid, concrete opinion on it. So I can obviously say from Black Ops onwards, I can rank them according to myself. So a lot of people would say that Black Ops 2 was the best Call of Duty ever. Now, personally, yes, I did play it, but I think there's one game that tops it. So we're actually going to start right at the beginning with Call of Duty Black Ops 1, whatever you want to call it. Now, personally, I played the crap out of this game. Now, obviously, that game I never watched competitively. I started in, End of Ghosts, early Advanced Warfare. Maybe it was even Black Ops 2. Somewhere in, those couple of games I started watching. I think it was actually end of Black Ops 2, early Ghosts, I think is what it was, where I started watching competitive. So that's where I started watching competitive. So that's where I really gained all of my YouTube and streaming and all that type of stuff. I started to learn all about that there. So with Black Ops 1, I absolutely love that game. It was definitely a great game for me. Myself, my brother Chris, we were dominant, right? Firing Range, Nuketown, WMD, Summit, all of those maps were just fantastic. Now, there was, basically only one gun people really used. Maybe two. Actually, no, there was a few that people would use, right? The AK-74U, the Galil, the Commando, and even, the FAMAS was the main gun. That was just a do-it-all type of gun, which is the gun I rocked mainly. But Call of Duty Black Ops 1 has to be at that great level, at least for me. Now, our second game in this list here is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Now, again, a lot of people really liked this game. Now, personally, I got this game. I tried it out for a little while. Wasn't really the biggest fan of it. It wasn't a horrible game, just was not a big fan. So with Black Ops 1 being such a great game for me, I kept playing that through the entirety of Modern Warfare 3. So I have to put this right in the middle. I did not play a ton of it, like I said, but I did play enough to where I was not really my cup of tea. Plus, Black Ops 1 was that game for me that I played consistently and absolutely loved it. On to our third game, though. I know that one was a little short, but Black Ops 2. Now, everyone would put this in their top tier, god tier, elite category. Now, I'm going to put it there only because of what it kind of meant for Call of Duty as a whole. But personally, I didn't play enough of this game back in the day. Now, personally, the MSMC, the M8, and the DSR and Ballista literally would have made, if I would have played this game all the time with ranked play and everything else. I feel like if this game came out now, NHL would go away on my channel, Fortnite would be significantly reduced, and I would play the crap out of Black Ops 2. But unfortunately, back in my little teenage years, Black Ops 1 was still that game. So I played Black Ops 1 for like a solid 3 years. Like, that's what's crazy, that it went like 3 years and I basically played the same game. So I did play Black Ops 2 on and off. I wish I would have appreciated it more back then, but I didn't really play it as much as I should have, or as much as I do with current Call of Duties now. So unfortunately, I really want to put it as that good, but for what it meant for Call of Duty, for what I thought of the game then and what I think of it now, I wish I would have played it more. Now our next game, now like I said, my early competitive days, I started at the end of Black Ops 2, early Call of Duty Ghosts. Now this is when the game I started competing at, right? Some tournaments, some game battles, some stuff like that. And Call of Duty Ghosts, I gotta put as either good or average. I'm gonna put it as average right now, just to kind of wrap my brain around it. Where Call of Duty Ghosts was not really the greatest Call of Duty overall wise, but I did enjoy playing it. So maybe I'll put this as a good game. Maybe this is what's hard about having that like great tier and then a good tiers, because like a lot of people wouldn't consider this a good game, but like myself personally, like I kind of enjoyed it a lot, right? Search and Destroy in that game. What was the other thing? What was the sniper rifle called? I don't remember, but that sniper rifle was pretty solid as it was. So I'm gonna put this as good. I personally did enjoy playing this game. There's a lot of tweaks and stuff that people would change about that game. The time to kill, I know if it was a big thing. Blitz was a fun game mode to play. That game, ranked play, I think it was what was it called? It's called something back then, but I'm pretty sure they had that. It was pretty not horrible, but it wasn't the best game. So I'm gonna leave it right as good. Now this is where things get interesting. This is where the jetpack era started. Now this is where myself was the first, I think, full year that I watched competitive, right? The Pro League, all the events, before I kind of found my favorite team, that was Optic Gaming back in the day. Now not so much, but this is where I started being full-on competitive, right? Ranked play, GBs, I already said ranked play. But like everything about it, I wanted to try to compete. Now, Advanced Warfare came out in 2014. That's 6 years ago. That's crazy. But Advanced Warfare for myself was probably I'd say probably top 3, top 4 game all time for me. So it's probably no surprise where I'm going to put this. It's got to be in that great category. Now, I played the crap out of this game. I believe it was at the end of Advanced Warfare or early on in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which is the next game we're going to get to. But that's where I met Ben, which is super awesome because, like, obviously we're still friends now, 5 or 6 years later, and we're still playing together. We're still rocking and rolling. We play all the time. We are on streams, YouTube. We're talking all the time. I know today, personally, the new update for Call of Duty Modern Warfare Season 4 came out. So he's been talking about that all day long. He's been playing. I've been procrastinating all day. But now we're making a video. The video I wanted to make for a little while now. And Advanced Warfare was one of my favorite games. Now, I know, there's a lot of backlash with the advanced movement and all that stuff. But personally, I absolutely loved this game. Now, like I said, the next game we're talking about is Black Ops 3. Now, I'm going to put it in average, though, so we can talk about it real quick. And it's on your screen. So, Black Ops 3, with the absolute passion for Advanced Warfare, competitive was still full swing. Obviously, Optic was one of the more dominant teams throughout the entire jetpack era. So, that was like making myself feel good as a Call of Duty fan, as a competitive fan, and even playing this, right, was so fun, right? Fringe, whatever that snowy mansion map was, like all of those like good maps that if we're in a different Call of Duty could have been really solid, but like you could just jump over anything in that game pretty much. So not really what you wanted, but that was a really good game for me. Now, this was also the first ever game to implement, what were they called back then? Specialists. So now you had an ability, you had, some of them had weapons, right? There was a whole bunch of stuff in that game. So myself personally, I absolutely loved Black Ops 3, and it almost looks like I'm super biased towards the Black Ops games, but personally, I mean, they've definitely, like, been the best developer that I've ever played under. I mean, obviously, Advanced Warfare, I think, was made by, what, Sledgehammer or something? But for the most part, the Black Ops titles, I've absolutely loved. I was pretty good at it. This, again, was where I was still competing competitively. It's the same thing. But obviously, this is where Ben and I's friendship kind of first started. It was either that or Advanced Warfare. I still don't remember. But still, 5 or 6 years ago, that's absolutely insane. But absolutely love that game. I don't have, like, I mean, the ban and protect for competitive was kind of weird because, like, you could ban, like, if one player was really good with one weapon, like, so if it was the M8, if you had a really good assault, like, just for Optic Gaming back then, you had Formal. He was one of the best ARs in the game, and then now you have to be good with every single AR in order to be good, like, the best player. Because if they ban that one gun and you suck with the rest of them, that's going to hurt your team. So now you got to play with all of the guns and just kind of see how it works out. But Black Ops 3, I have to put it as a great game. I loved playing that game. You know, myself and Active Camo in that game with Uplink was an absolute solid duo. So was Ben and I. I got to put this as great. Now on to our last game of the Jetpack era. We're going to have Infinite Warfare. So I'm going to, again, put it as average just for now. But Infinite Warfare. Now, I really wish I could have gave this game more of a chance. Now, I did play a lot of this game, but it wasn't that good of a game. Now, also, I played most of the Infinite Warfare season with a broken controller. So, like, I kind of stopped caring in a sense. I mean, this was 2016. So, like, you know, this is work time. This is, like, you know, being an adult time, and this was like, what, 4 years ago? So I was, what, 19 then? So yeah, still trying to figure everything out in life. So it was just kind of a weird time where I couldn't play video games all the time. And, you know, everyone was kind of, you know, bashing and giving so much backlash on, you know, the Jetpack era games. And Infinite Warfare was an interesting game. Like, personally, I liked the what was it, the NV4, and what was the other gun that people used in that game? But myself personally, in Advanced Warfare, you know, the NV4, the K-Bar, and the ERAD weren't, I mean, it was a good kind of meta for the most part. Like, you had one NV4 player, usually you had like 2 K-Bar players, and then you had one main ERAD, and then the second person would switch to an ERAD sometimes. But what was the sniper in that game? It was the KBS longbow, I believe. I mean, that sniper rifle was pretty solid. You know, that kind of brought it back to the almost like the DSR days of Black Ops 2. And I liked that meta. I was actually pretty good in that game. If I would have played with a completely working controller during that game, I think I would have been even better and had a better experience back then. But at least for now, I'm gonna leave it as good. Now, I know, you know, you probably have to have some bad games in there, but like I said, I mean, with having, what, 6 games off the books already that I just didn't play or have enough playtime to really, like, make an opinion on, that probably would eliminate some of those. But going on, our next game, we're returning to boots on the ground with Call of Duty World War II. Now, again, myself personally in this game, for the most part, I did enjoy. Now, this was probably the last time that ranked play actually was a thing, because Black Ops, well, what did Black Ops 4 have for ranked play? I don't even remember, but World War II was still a pretty solid game. The maps in that game, at least the competitive maps, were pretty good. I mean, it wasn't a crazy bad game. Just competitively was really weird at this point because it was so slow, and that it was like the color of the maps and the guns and everything was just so bland and boring. So although I did enjoy it, I gotta put this one as average. Only because the maps were good, but they were so boring to listen to. Now, to listen to. Is that what I really just said? So, like, boring to look at and boring to play. And after one point, like, you'd have the same nade spots, the same people going the same places all the time. There was a good, I guess, sneak factor to that game where you can actually be sneaky and get away with it. But overall, that game was super boring to look at. There was no color. Like, the pubs, like, you just couldn't play. Like, you had to play the ranked play just to get away with a lot of the dumb crap that was in the game. And that's a lot of what ranked play is to get rid of that dumb crap that pubs players use, like C4, claymores, like those types of things, and shotguns, LMGs, like all that just dumb crap. It gets rid of that. And World War II was like no other, where you wanted to get away from everything that was not in competitive. And World War II, like I said, I did enjoy it. A lot of the maps are pretty good, but they were just super boring to watch, super boring to look at. And, I hate to put it as an average, but I actually did kind of enjoy it. Our next game, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Oh boy, this is probably one of my favorite games of all time. I'm just going to say that. Where, although a lot of people could abuse the shot punch, and even with this game being from Treyarch, I wouldn't say there was much bad about this game. And even with the specialists and the specialist weapons and all of that stuff, I still really enjoyed this game. With a couple of tweaks, I think it probably could have been the greatest Call of Duty of all time. But there was those couple of things that made it so, like, can't really have that and make the game as good as possible. Now, also, this was the year where the CWL, the Call of Duty World League, ended, and then going into Modern Warfare started the franchise system. So there was that, at least for Call of Duty. But Black Ops 4 as a solo game was super enjoyable, to where the ICR, which went from in Black Ops 3 as like a not really used gun, to one of the main guns in a different game, which I kind of appreciated more than anything, because it was a pretty solid gun in Black Ops 3. It just never really got used because of the M8 and the other guns that were just a little bit better. But I'm kind of glad they did that, because it made the ICR a good gun. The Maddox was super fun to use. And then the SOG was super weird, I guess, all throughout the entire year. But overall, this game was solid. I did enjoy it. It had pretty good maps all throughout. A couple of the maps a little weird and competitive, but it was still fun nonetheless. This was also the first game that went 5v5, so that was a big change, obviously going towards competitive. But overall, it was a solid game. I definitely enjoyed the meta, the guns, the maps were pretty good. And overall, I give this one a great. Now, as you can see, I have all of the Black Ops games up there, and all of the rest of them, other than Advanced Warfare, are down below. Like, Treyarch has barely ever made a bad game to where you just didn't. Actually, has that had all the games? Pretty sure all of my great games are all Treyarch, with the exception of Advanced Warfare. So, I don't know. I mean, that leaves us with one, though. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, our current Call of Duty game. Now, if you guys have seen any of my recent Call of Duty videos, and as much as I'm trying not to just bash this game, it is, I think, probably the worst Call of Duty ever made. And the only reason I say that is the maps basically suck. Like, all but, like, 2 of them. Like, other than Gunrunner and Hackney Yard, and maybe St. Petro, they suck. Miserably. Right? Public matches are so hard to play, because everyone just sprints at each other. Then, along with that point, all of the guns are viable, pretty much. Like, you can all, like, 3-bullet everybody, which is no fun. The time to kill is way too fast. Like, it's got to be back to like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 bullets to kill somebody or eliminate somebody. I guess that's a thing. But the MP5 was cross-mapping people. The M4 wasn't strong enough. The maps suck. Like, attachment system, where they have 47 different attachments for every single gun. And along with those ones, then they split it up into like 8 different categories. And now you got to figure out which one goes to which. And like, personally, we don't care, right? I know you tried something here with all the different, specialized attachments, but give us back our quick draw, give us back grip, stock, long barrel, extended mags. Give us that again. That's what we want. You didn't need to change it, right? I know Call of Duty is trying to be its own thing and not to have copy and paste every year, but some of these games literally figure out what works, keep it in the game, and for the next game, take it out or change it. It's not that hard. But Call of Duty Modern Warfare official placement, terrible. Right? This was terrible. This probably is the worst game you could have had as a first year of like a franchise league. And there's not a lot good about this game that came about. Right? Franchise system got rid of a lot of the brands we all knew and loved. Some like were forced out and changed, although they still have some of the same names. It's still not the same Call of Duty we knew and loved. I know they needed a big change, but like, I don't know, just with a terrible game that came out and franchising and the lack of support this year. Plus, I didn't even mention this part. Where's ranked play, league play, whatever you want to call it? Where is it? We are what, like 3 or 4 months away from the new Call of Duty, and we still don't have ranked play? Like, what? Now, I didn't even mention, back to Black Ops 4, this was the first iteration of a Call of Duty Battle Royale that came out, and it was pretty solid. I mean, the game stayed, updated most of the time, but like, Blackout was that big thing that people were kind of playing, and now that there's a Call of Duty Battle Royale mode, that a lot of people were playing that and not multiplayer. And now, especially with Modern Warfare this year, all of their focus has been on Warzone. Literally all of their focus. Now, they took the Battle Pass from Fortnite. They took the Battle Royale mode from Fortnite and from other ones. Same with Black Ops 4. But they're on Season 4 of that Battle Pass with Warzone. And yet their game still sucks as multiplayer. Now, this is also the reason, I believe, the return of... Or was that in Black Ops 4? No, there was a World War II campaign. But they have campaign, multiplayer, then Warzone, which, I mean, yeah, I'm happy for it, but, like, I really wish some of their focus would be in multiplayer, especially when it sucks so bad. And then they have, like, the co-op missions that you can do, which are like an extension of the campaign, which I still haven't beat because they're really freaking hard. Overall, I mean, Warzone compared to Modern Warfare as a multiplayer game is completely different, right? Warzone is pretty solid. I mean, they made some big changes. Season 4 just came out, so I haven't really seen too much into that yet. But Modern Warfare as a whole, for multiplayer games, this is the worst Call of Duty of all time. Now, you can disagree with me, say it's the most played of all time, and it's one of the best sellers of all time, but I think a lot of that had to do with Warzone and not multiplayer at all. Because myself personally, if I didn't want to stay on the current Call of Duty, I'd probably go back to Black Ops 4 and continue to play that until the next Call of Duty came out. But with all that being said, guys, let me know what you guys think. Down in the comment section below, let me know what your rank is. I'm going to try to leave a link to this in the description so you can use the same games and the same tiers and everything that I used. So hopefully you guys can do that description. Let me know. Tweet it at me. Leave it in the comments section. I want to see your lists. Ben and Chris, I'm going to tag you guys in this as well. So I want to know your guys' lists as well. You know, obviously it sucks that, 6 of the games I didn't really play, but we still had the other, 11 or something like that. Yeah, we have 5, 7, 9, 10. So we still have 10 games that we played. So we had a good mix here, but that's going to do it for today's video. If you did enjoy, hit the like button down below if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button. And as always, guys, we'll see you next time.